Well, Hunter Biden is back in the news, but not really if you're paying attention to the legacy media. You probably missed this story. Here's the Washington Examiner headline. The moment Hunter Biden tells his father he will do anything he tells him to. So the moment Hunter Biden says his father will do anything he tells him to, you can hear that actually on tape. I think we have a clip of that we can play right now.
He'll talk about anything that I want him to, that he believes in. If I say this is important to me, then he will work a way in which to make it a part of his platform. My dad respects me more than he respects anyone in the world, and I know that to be certain. So it is not going to be about whether my dad thinks it's going to affect his politics. No, it won't. It's not going to be whether or not he's going to be embarrassed of me. He never will. It's not going to. All of those concerns that you have with all of the people that you know, that are the children of, I have none of them.
Yes, the lack of embarrassment is certainly relevant. Andrew Kerr, the reporter on that byline, he's an investigative reporter at the Washington Examiner, is joining us now to discuss the situation further. Andrew, thanks so much for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So this audio is key. I mean, it's kind of saying the quiet part out loud. It's kind of saying what everybody already knows. You don't go into lobbying, and you're not successful in lobbying unless you have the ear of people in power. And if your last name is Biden, that would mean Joe Biden. But Andrew, what do we know about the timeline of this audio? When is it from? What's the context? Who's he talking to? Tell us more from your reporting.
Yeah, so this was recorded in early December 2018. So about 5 months before Joe Biden announced his candidacy for president in April 2019. This is a 77-minute recording. We pulled it from a copy of Hunter Biden's laptop. It was actually from a password-protected backup of his iPhone XS. We've been working with a former Secret Service agent. His name is Gus Dimitrilos, and he was able to locate the password to that 28 gig backup on the laptop. And so there's just a whole host of new files that we've been going through, including this recording. Hunter is talking with a British artist named Philippa Horan. And this was in the throes of his addiction to crack cocaine. So it very well could be that he was exaggerating the influence that he has with his father. We did ask the White House, what Hunter said, that he was directly involved in the months leading up to Joe Biden's presidential candidacy, talking about being involved in political planning discussions, texts from this new trove of documents show, but they didn't answer. So yeah, I mean, it's a pretty fascinating recording, just seeing how candor he was with, just saying that essentially, if it's an important issue to me, then my dad is going to make it a part of his political platform.
That's how you sell lobbying services, yeah. How you market.
Right, and the context of that conversation, he's talking about drug treatment, right?
Yeah, we uploaded about 7 minutes of the conversation, but the whole recording is 77 minutes, and he does talk about his ongoing addiction to crack cocaine. He's actually at one point he sort of justifies his continued use of the substance, saying that maybe this is the best thing that ever happened to me, and this can put me down the pathway of turning me into the man that my father believes that I am. I mean. He had a horrible addiction. It's just really clear, looking through the drive. I mean, he was just, he was really in it deep. But yeah, I mean, still, what the tape that you just showed, he did make the claim that, Dad will do anything that I want him to.
Any hints you can give us about what else you guys have found so far in here? Because it's a fascinating story about finding the iPhone backup that was, had it encrypted, and you needed a password, and then your cyber guy managed to find the password somewhere else, and the computer tried it. Obviously, it worked, and it unlocked it. Anything else that you can tease for us?
Yeah, so we did another story this week. There's an incident in October 2018 where Hallie Biden, who's Hunter Biden's sister-in-law, that they were having a sexual relationship with, discarded one of his a handgun that he owned near a high school in Delaware. And this incident has been reported elsewhere, but in this cache of new documents, there's a lengthy text exchange on the day of that incident where Hunter is just railing against Hallie for taking his gun from his unlocked car and throwing it in a trash can near Delaware High School. He's saying that you're making me out to be, quote, an abusive pedophile with homicidal tendencies, that this is now in the hands of the FBI. He said that I'm never going to recover from this. You've been totally irresponsible. And on the other side of the conversation, Hallie is like, look, I was scared for you. I thought that you were going to use this gun. I was scared for your life. I just your kids were around. I was just really scared, and I'm sorry. I just acted on a knee-jerk reaction. So it's a really it's a bizarre and illuminating conversation that they had. And what's so interesting about that incident is that Hunter claimed in other texts in the laptop that the Secret Service got involved, and Politico reported on this last year. And the Secret Service is now saying that we have no records that of any involvement in this incident. So we have a gun being discarded near a high school, and it was just swept under the rug. So it'll be interesting to see if we can find anything more on that. Talk to some more folks to try to find out what exactly happened. That we had this incident that supposedly the Delaware State Police, the FBI, and according to Hunter, the Secret Service were involved, and then it was all swept under the rug.
Yeah, I was going to say Hunter Biden's wrong on that point. It wasn't the end of him. It definitely didn't ruin him. There's barely been a peep in the media about the gun story. Andrew, do we know why, in all the context you have in these full recordings, do we know why these conversations were being recorded? I'm trying to think of why that Hunter Biden would have a recording of this conversation with the artist, and why he would have an audio recording of this conversation with Hallie Biden. Is there any indication of why these were being recorded in the full tapes?
Hunter was a prolific documentarian of his own life. I think that's the best way of putting it. He constantly is filming himself, talking, having conversations with people, having. There's a lot of illicit content on the drive. I've never really seen anything like it. Someone just with such an addiction to videotaping themselves. There's a lot of videos of him just kind of staring at himself on the phone. Through the selfie camera. So yeah, I mean, as far as the context of why he decided to record this particular conversation, it's on. He doesn't really say why he's recording it, but about 20 minutes into the conversation, he actually does tell the woman that he's talking to, this British artist, Philippa Haran, that by the way, I am recording this conversation. So this wasn't secretly taped or anything. The people that are around Hunter many times knew that he was recording them.
And so now that you have access to this new backup of a phone on this laptop, I'm wondering if we might start to be able to unravel another mystery here. And I don't know if we could put this up here. There was this tantalizing story in the Daily Mail back in, when was this? August of 2021, that reported on a video that showed up on Hunter's laptop, in which he's telling a story in January of 2019, and the story he's telling is about the summer of 2018, where he went on this just absolutely, coincides with some of your timeline here. He goes on this absolutely massive, 10-day, 18-day, something long bender in Las Vegas, and it ends with him. And I'll read a quote from Hunter. He says, "So I went out to the hot tub by myself." These are $10,000 a night places he's staying at in Vegas, which hangs over the edge of the effing top floor with glass. It's ridiculous. And I'm sitting there, and that's the last thing I remember. I don't ever pass out, ever. So he basically passes out in this hot tub. He comes to, and there is basically a Russian sex worker, he says, who's in the hotel room with some other people who he'd been hanging out with, and he suspects that she then took his laptop. So this is summer of 2018, and so in January, before all of this comes out, he's relaying this story that a Russian sex worker had taken his laptop, and the Daily Mail speculates that Hunter would be an obvious easy target of a foreign surveillance operation. You don't have to go far to try to figure out what his weakness might be, how you're going to kind of get to him. And so then it's you and I were just talking. It was the spring of 2019 that this computer store says that it wound up with a laptop. Are we certain that these are different laptops? What do we know about this story of this Russian sex worker who, according to Hunter in this recorded video, took a laptop. Have we gotten that one yet? Is that the one that we have now? And is there anything on your drive that can shed any additional light on this? And I think, because there's two questions. There's one, the content of the laptops, I think, is relevant and explains a lot about foreign influence lobbying and about his relationship with the Biden administration. But then separately, there's some foreign policy questions to ask about whether or not that had anything to do with how some of this got out.
Yeah, so a couple things. So in regards to more information about that incident in Las Vegas, I have nothing to add to that right now. I do want to stress that it's the just amount of content on this drive is quite overwhelming. I mean, you could spend, I'm not exaggerating, half a year full time just kind of going through everything and cross-referencing it. As far as do we have the laptop that the Russian escort reportedly took in summer 2018? No, the drive that we have, the last use of the last user file generated date is mid-March 2019. Okay. So that was the last time that this particular drive was used. And the story goes is that Hunter took this computer to a Delaware repair shop in April 2019. If I recall correctly, the repair quote the dated repair quote that Hunter signed authorizing the repair shop store owner to pull data from the drive to recover it, said that there was some water damage on these drives. So I want to stress that we have the New York Post, the first day of this story back in October 2020, produced a signed repair quote that contains Hunter Biden's signature, and it's dated the day they say that Hunter dropped it off at the laptop repair shop. And the quote says that if you don't come and pick it up within X amount of days, then we'll treat this as abandoned property. Hunter Biden has, one, never even been asked this in any direct interview that he's had with any reporters, and two, he's just never addressed through his lawyers or directly anybody that's asked him, hey, did you sign this piece of paper authorizing this repair shop to take your data and saying that if you don't pick it up within a certain time, we'll treat it as abandoned property. So I think that there's a lot of media malfeasance there. People that have gotten Hunter on camera have never thought to ask him about that, which I think is irresponsible. And I've tried so many times to ask his lawyer, hey, is this legitimate? Because what they could really easily do is just say, no, he never signed that document. And then we can have a serious discussion about whether or not this laptop repair shop story is true or not. But in my eyes, yes, it's 100%. He did drop it off at the repair shop. He didn't pick it up, and then the repair shop owner gave a copy of it to the FBI, and then he also gave it to Rudy Giuliani's team, which in hindsight probably should have given it to someone else. Rudy made a lot of mistakes, in my opinion. But what happened. But yeah,
that point that there was the last file in March coming. So that's like 8 months after that bender in 2018. So that means there might be another laptop out there somewhere. Yeah. So our cyber forensics expert that we've been working with, we did a story a few weeks ago saying, reporting on his conclusion that this laptop is 100% authentic, and Hunter is the only person that's capable of producing all the records in that are contained within this drive. Because we have credit card information, personal identification cards, passports and driver's licenses, and kind of the whole shebang. And he actually was able to find records on the drive with Apple account login information. And there's this like dozens of Apple devices that were linked to Hunter's iCloud account. So we know that he owned a substantial amount of Apple devices, and so it's totally plausible that he could have had numerous laptops that could have been taken by Russian escorts and could be floating around in the nether now.
Andrew Kerr, this is really great reporting. Thank you so much for coming on the program to break it all down.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. You can read that in the Washington Examiner, and we will have more Rising for you right after this.